This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Tuesday, March 17th. I'm here with Al, Steph, and I'm Lindsay. We've got a three-person panel again. We're social distancing, so I feel so
really far away. I know, but I'm not going to touch you.
I know. Al's like, I can still touch y'all.
Yes, I know. But for the sake of TV, I'll pretend like I can't.
No, it's good, though. A lot of shows are doing this.
That's
so it's important that we keep our space. I know that it's St. Patty's Day, guys, and usually we're having so much fun around the country. It definitely feels weird even in here today. But this is a new reality, and it's way more toned down. So let's just get started and get to the stories. All across the country, new restrictions are in effect. Restaurants, bars, gyms, and theaters are closed in a growing number of states. While the president is saying he's going to steer clear of groups of more than 10 people, and we all should. In the San Francisco Bay Area, more than 7 million people have been ordered to shelter in place. If you're wondering what that means, it requires you to stay at home, except to get food, medicine, or seek medical care. That could be a reality in more places, as the mayor of New York is reportedly considering it. Speaking of which, check out Times Square in New York. I'm from there, so this looks crazy. After the new restrictions took effect last night, it's pretty empty compared to what it normally looks like. Spring breakers in Florida have a different idea. They apparently didn't get the social distancing memo. The beaches are packed. Come on, man.
No, they got the memo.
They just really went to the airport. I even got an email from United saying, hey, know that the airports are going to be crazy in the coming weeks for spring break. And I'm like, who's going? I mean,
that's your answer.
Clearly,
that's your
all those
answer
kids
right
on
there.
the beach, right?
Is the message that you could be killing somebody's grandmother not enough for spring breakers, in your opinion, Al?
No, it's not. Clearly, we're looking at the response. It's not what you say, Lindsay. It's what you do. And these people could stay home. Is it bad that you're going to miss spring break? Yes. We're all sacrificing. Our own Brandon London missed a trip to Germany to coach football. I've canceled thousands of dollars worth of stand-up gigs. It's just what's happening. Don't cry for me. Don't cry for Brandon. This is the world that we live in now, and we need to all get on board.
Yeah, and I think as well, millennials do need to take, I think a lot of millennials are taking this very seriously, but the CDC has reported a ridiculous, like it's the highest rate of STDs that America has ever had.
What?
Netflix and chill has been taken to a whole other level.
Yes, Netflix and pill.
Syphilis has gone up 35%. Wait, are you ready? Wait, let me read the actual number. 35,000 people have got syphilis. It's the highest number since 1991. Gonorrhea has gone up 5%. 580K have got it in America right now. Chlamydia has gone up 3%. So guys,
This is grossing me out.
if wearing a condom is too much hard work, do you really think they're going to be that diligent about the coronavirus that could kill their families? Please take this more seriously. Look after your health.
I was thinking that Tinder would go down.
No,
And like,
I have a lot of friends, a lot of single friends, and they said since this announcement happened and the lockdown started happening, I think people are scared to be alone, Lindsay, and I think everybody's like, hey, put it within 5 mile radius. All right, what's up?
People are insane. So a list of major events that are getting canceled keeps getting longer and longer. For the first time since 1945, 1945, the Kentucky Derby has been delayed. Churchill Downs announced the news this morning, saying it will now take place on the first Saturday in September, which I hope everything is good by then. Meantime, the Met Gala has also been postponed. The red carpet extravaganza, which I was so looking forward to, put on by Anna Wintour herself, will be moved to a different date as well. But it's not just the major events that are being moved. We're in election 2020, guys. So 3 states are holding primaries as we speak. That's Arizona, Florida, and Illinois. But Ohio's governor pushed the vote back until June. So the question is, if you guys lived in one of these states, would you still go out and vote? Those lines are long. They're not going to wipe down the stations every single time you vote.
No. It's how can we sit on the show and tell people not to go out and practice social distancing like we're on this panel, and then the governor saying go out and vote and do the exact opposite? Voting is the opposite of social distancing. It's so irresponsible, and it's going to cause voter suppression, which may or may not be intended. And because of that, we're going to have a minority then to rule a state, because if that means like 80 to 100 people could swing the decisions for millions of people in that state.
The Ohio governor actually overrode the Supreme Court and said, I'm still canceling voting for today. The other 2 states didn't.
Ohioans are good people.
You've got to think, voting is an extremely tactile thing. There are a lot of touch screens. There are a mass population coming together at once. And like you said, sterilizing every single pen and ballot is literally impossible. There's a reason we've got the internet. use it, vote from home, or you can vote via mail and post it. There are many other options you can do. In California, they're actually looking at having more drive-by, so you can drop off your voting ballot and drive away, so you're not actually getting in a car or getting into any contact with anyone.
Drive-by voting.
Drive-by voting.
They should slow, like the way that we're doing it. I know a lot of people have issue with what Trump's doing, but he's slow rolling it. I had a long conversation with a couple people yesterday, and we're slow rolling it rather than federal mandate. We're all shutting down. I think that could kind of cause panic. I don't know that just telling every state what to do instead of allowing state leaders to do what they want to do would really control everything.
I think it depends as well on like how much of a hotspot that particular state is, I guess, in that area too. But you got to think about it. Just 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump was saying, literally at a rally in North Carolina, he was literally standing there saying, we're all going to be able to go out and vote in 2 weeks' time. There's no worry about this.
Right.
So 2 weeks can make a big difference. I think we need to be very safe.
Yeah, I think we changed from weeks to months. Right?
I would say every 12 hours.
Right, every 12 hours it's like new thing. So I'm following the news just like you guys, but we're trying to create a sense of calm, make you guys feel comfortable here, taking you slowly through it.
Hold on, Lindsay.
Meditation. Oh, look, I got my crystals today,
yes,
y'all.
Lindsay, we need those today more than
Magic
ever.
crystals. I'll put them in the middle of the table.
All right.
Okay, so with all of America shutting down, the economic impact is probably going to hit all of us. Right now, the administration is reportedly working on an economic stimulus package to the tune of $850 billion. And it may include a payroll tax cut. Meantime, Senator Mitt Romney has another idea. He's outlined a proposal yesterday that would give every American adult $1,000. Steph, is that enough to get you situated $1,000?
Absolutely not. So for the average US family, 4-person family, they need a minimum of $58,000 to survive a year, which breaks down to $4,800 a month. So $1,000 just simply isn't going to cut it.
But Al, you think it's better than doing nothing?
I think it's better than doing nothing, Steph. And this is what I think that this is not. If you lose your full-time gig, that's rough. But I think for a lot of people that might have, we say we live in a gig economy. So if you do drive Uber, do Postmates, you shovel driveways or something like that, this $1,000 could help to mitigate that and cover some of that, I would say, side gig expense. So this will help. Look, a Band-Aid doesn't fix it, but it does slow.
Well, the Treasury Secretary did say that they're planning on sending out checks hopefully immediately. So we'll see some of that relief like we kind of did when Bush was president, when he sent out like $300 checks, I believe. So a lot has been made of the fact that the elderly are at risk. Now, grocery stores are taking steps to protect older and more vulnerable customers. Some are even implementing elderly hours, which I love. Help separate them from the general public. I know we're all worried about our grandparents. Meantime, you've got to see this social distancing PSA from comedy legend Mel Brooks and his son Max. It's meant to keep the elderly healthy. Check it out.
This is my dad, Mel Brooks. Hi, Dad. He's 93. If I get the coronavirus, I'll probably be okay. But if I give it to him, he could give it to Carl Reiner, who could give it to Dick Van Dyke. And before I know it, I've wiped out a whole generation of comedic legends. When it comes to coronavirus, I have to think about who I can infect.
So to be completely honest with you guys, I lost my uncle on Saturday.
Oh, no.
And we're trying to figure out what to do, right? We cannot have a funeral. He wanted to be cremated, so that's giving us some space to plan to get together. But my grandmother is the main one that I'm worried about. I don't want to come around her. I don't feel responsible going around her. So what are you guys thinking you're going to do in order to keep socially distant from especially older people?
I mean, you just exemplified the definition of selflessness. You want to be there for your uncle. You want that's your chance to say goodbye. And I'm sorry about your family's loss. But you're thinking about the people that are still here, and your uncle would like that, and your uncle would appreciate that. And I think all of us on this panel would feel the same way if it was for us to go. I wouldn't want us all to get together for an Al Jackson wake if this is what could possibly happen. We have too many important people still here.
And this is what also makes this so serious. I mean, people aren't even being given the chance to allow to grieve the dead and their family in this situation because of that's how serious this is.
Right.
And we need to protect those that are here, that are alive, that are living, and make that, I mean, it's so precious. And I think this is, sometimes the universe gives us like this huge wake-up call, and this is definitely it. In the UK, elderly people have been told now they should self-quarantine for up to 3 months.
Yeah, it's serious. And I think once we were talking about it last week as if it was third person, and now that I know that I'm in it and it actually happened Saturday, I'm like, okay, you have to be responsible. And if I can do that, so can everybody. Somebody who thinks that I'm healthy and won't be affected too much by this.
Well said.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to give a big DBL shout out to Tom Brady, who I don't love the Patriots, but after more than 20 years and 6 Super Bowl wins, is saying goodbye to the New England Patriots. Brady posted a "Forever a Patriot" to Twitter announcing his departure, saying, quote, "Although my football journey will take place elsewhere, I appreciate everything that we have achieved and am grateful for our accomplishments." So what do you guys think?
Yeah,
I wish they would have let him retire there.
He's the greatest of all time, and you know it's hard. I know people that don't really follow football will look and say, well, how do you let your most iconic player of all time leave? And it's because football has a salary cap, and you can't pay everybody. And what Tom Brady deserves and what he wants to be paid is not commensurate with his output at this point. So he's got to go, and it's sad, but he'll leave the greatest of all time. He's in the argument to be maybe the greatest athlete of all time in terms of his wins and his track record. And I know what I'm saying when I say that. So, and I'm not a Patriots fan, but you got to be a fan of greatness.
And remember, he's rolling in dough. He's married.
And he's married to Giselle. I'm not exactly like crying tears for him. He'll be all right.
He's pretty good. Okay, remember, you guys can always watch us on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Daily Blast Live.
Go to the Browns, Tom.
Coming up, we're talking to a woman who actually contracted the coronavirus. She told me what it's like and how she's been recovering so far. Plus, actress Idris Elba is the latest celebrity to test positive for the virus. We've got an update on his health.
Lindsay today because it's the first time that she's moderated.
I didn't make a big deal of it at the top, but I'm actually shaking in my boots about to pee my pants.
You're doing so well. You're doing awesomely.
So when I first was trying to do it, so my boss luckily let me do a practice run a couple days ago, and Steph and Jeff were on my panel, and Brandon wearing like their clothes from outside, their street clothes, and we were all hanging out practicing, but Steph and Jeff were like, slow down. Because you guys know I'm from New York, I talk like a mile a minute, which everybody tells me to slow down. But they were like, Steph is staring at me like this.
No, you did so good.
So all that together, I want to talk to you guys about something. Maybe we can talk about it when we go back on air too. Divorce rates have spiked in China because of how much time people are spending together.
Oh. I mean, it's a very, you got to think also, it's not only the time, it's the mental stress, and people are worrying, so everyone's on high alert, everyone's worrying like, is my family okay, is my grandparents okay?
Financial stress as well.
Financial stress, how are we going to pay these bills? And wait, what is it?
And also like close quarter stuff.
I
Look,
know, I feel
you
like love someone, but there's only so, you're a human being,
I think a lot of domestic issues could be settled with square footage.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just like, hey, you go upstairs and watch your shows, but like when you're on top of each other, even if it's your best friend,
yeah.
You know, after a while you're like, hey man, can you go over there for a second? It's just kind of human being. So I think people, like you said, the mental stress, the stress of not knowing when this is going to end, the financial stress, and then if you had any other problems, which most couples do leading into this, those would be exacerbated. And I think next thing you know, you're FaceTiming your divorce lawyer. Can't even go in.
It's true, right? You got to think about it as well. Like, you know, like guys, you might want to go out and have a beer and just chill your guys. Girls, you might want to go out and have a cocktail with your girlfriends. And like, you might want to just moan about your partner and be like, I'm sick of him. He did it, whatever he's done or whatever she's done, and that's gone now.
Yeah, and now you got to do it in front of them.
So now you're just there,
you got to complain
waiting
in front of
for them
Just
to like
increase it some more.
Welcome back to DBL. A Game of Thrones star is the latest celebrity to be diagnosed with coronavirus. I'm trying not to butcher this name. Christopher Hepburn is best known for portraying Wilding Tormund Giantsbane on the HBO series. The actor said he has it and he's self-isolating at his home in Norway. Meantime, Idris Elba revealed he also tested positive after he came in contact with someone who also has the virus. He posted this warning on Twitter. Check it out.
Look, this is serious, you know. Now's the time to really think about social distancing, washing your hands. Beyond that, there are people out there who aren't showing symptoms and that can easily spread it.
So, Steph, how worried are you about this? Because you have an autoimmune disease and people can be around you every second of the day that don't have any symptoms.
Yeah, of course. I mean, let's be honest, we're all sat here and we all feel good, but we could have it and be completely feeling fine, which is completely crazy to me. So how Idris got it, he was actually with a group of people and one of them ended up having coronavirus. At the time they felt well and he felt well, and it's only because he went and got tested and self-quarantined himself for a few days as a precautionary measure, and then he found out that, yeah, he too has the virus. And obviously he's there showing his beautiful wife Sabrina, so I'm sure that she has it now too. So it does make me feel anxious that obviously we're still coming to work, we're still trying to do our best, we're obviously splitting up shifts and like producers are working from home and we're all doing everything we can being further away from one another, but you still never know.
Right, are you worried about it, Al? I know you have kids, a lot to think about.
Of course you worry about it, but this is the world we live in. All you can do is your best.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, so some celebrities are getting creative when it comes to being in quarantine. Taylor Swift posted this picture of her cat practicing social distancing, saying Meredith self-quarantining is a way of life. Like Al said, be like Meredith and Al. Model Ashley Graham, who I know Al loves, shared this video taking a stroll with her newborn son in Nebraska. Clearly, she wasn't prepared for the cold. Is that a shirt around her neck? She's also encouraging social distancing, but says we all still need to get some fresh air, which is true. And Keith Urban threw a makeshift concert on Instagram for his fans stuck at home, with Nicole Kidman in the background being a good girl and a good wife and dancing for him. It's pretty hilarious.
Does she have earplugs in? Is she dancing to the same music?
And finally, Pink decided to use her extra time to learn to play the piano and give fans a mini concert of her progress. So I was thinking about all this free time, especially on the weekends, like what am I going to do? I have to do something productive. I can't just sit there. Like the wine is getting old. I already had wine last night.
I found myself
you want wine to get old. It's better.
I found myself doing really random things. Like I was like, I'm gonna like, oh, you don't call, what do you call it here? I call it a skirting board. What's the panel that goes around the bottom of your, what's it called?
We have to know this.
I don't know.
A floor, no, like there's a floorboard and there's a wall and then there's a piece of wall. I started doing weird stuff like cleaning my baseboards. That's how bored I was. I need something.
But can I show you this one video I want to show you guys of somebody who's
really terrible? It's not her cleaning her baseboard.
No, it's a man walking around in a dinosaur suit.
I've clearly got the best
in New York. Like this is not going to protect you. What are you doing?
Well, people will not come close to you.
Give him, you know what? No one's near him. Maybe it's just going to give everyone that's at home a little bit of happiness. Can you
imagine how filthy that
we gotta go on that note. He's just a whole fool. Okay, coming up on DBL, find out what it's actually like to contract the coronavirus. I talked to a survivor herself. I talked to her earlier, and it's an eye-opening interview. You don't want to miss it. It's up next.
Survivor from here?
So we're all just talking about obviously the coronavirus.
Tell her I'm off Thursday, Friday.
What we've been doing to try and keep busy. So I just resorted to overly cleaning my house, which is, I mean, it was fun for like a day, but now everything's clean. That's it, isn't it?
Really? Like I feel like there's so much that I'm working out a lot. I'm finishing my script.
Oh yeah, let's just say this. Ali's like the master of a million projects. So maybe he's the best person to actually give coronavirus on because he has a podcast. He does all these comedy shows. He wrote a children's book. He's always coming up with different products and ideas, like on the fly.
So true.
I don't know. I just feel like, being that my girl is a project manager, she's taught me to like look at a big thing and then break it down into steps.
Yeah.
Because I think when people say, I want to build a deck or I want to do, it's just so grand. I know I did this all the time. You probably do have a good idea, but the idea of getting it done seems impossible.
Yeah.
So I just try and do little things with like the completion of my children's book that sounded out as like notes in my phone. And contacting the illustrator. So just like
David,
find a big project and break it down into tiny steps that you can do every day.
A little bit.
Welcome back to DBL, 37-year-old Elizabeth Schneider felt fine while hanging out with her friends one weekend in late February, but shortly after, things took a turn for the worse. After 3 days, the Seattle native noticed her temperature quickly rising from 101, then jumping to 103 in a matter of hours. That's when Elizabeth decided to send in a sample of flu to a flu testing facility. Her results came back positive for COVID-19. Since then, Elizabeth has been recovering in self-quarantine. She's better and sharing her story as a coronavirus survivor. One of her biggest takeaways is don't panic, guys. Earlier, she sat down with me and told me what it was like. Watch. Elizabeth Schneider, thank you for talking to DBL. So you contracted the coronavirus after going to a house party in late February. After that, you self-quarantined yourself and have been recovering ever since. So first, I want to know, how are you feeling?
Yeah, currently I'm feeling great. I have my energy back. I no longer have any of the symptoms I was experiencing. I don't have a fever anymore. I did self-isolate myself during the course of my illness. I am, cleared by our public health guidelines to now go out into the public.
Let's go back to that party, because I think people really want you to paint the picture for them about how your experience was. So how many people were there and how many people got sick?
It was somewhere in the range of 30 to 40 people. We were all in one room, in a living room. And it was a one-bedroom apartment, so it wasn't super spacious. But no one at the party was visibly sick. No one was coughing. The total number of people who fell sick was somewhere in the range of 12 to 15 people. We all fell sick exactly 3 days after the party. And as of a few days ago, I got confirmation that apart from myself, there were 7 other people who tested positive from the coronavirus, and from that group of 12 to 15 people.
Well, I think what a lot of our viewers want to know is what COVID-19 feels like. So what exactly were your symptoms, and when was your illness at its worst?
The first night that I fell sick, I woke up in the morning earlier in the day, and I felt tired. I felt a little groggy, but I had been out a lot the previous weekend, and so I thought that I had just kind of overdid it and that I needed to stay in and not go out that night. So I went to the office as normal. And around midday, I started feeling that similar sensation that we get when we're starting to come down with something. I started feeling body aches. I had a fever. I was just really tired. So I went home early. I worked from home, and then I took a nap. And when I woke up, my temperature was 101 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
By that evening, it was up to 103 degrees. And I had uncontrollable shaking. I had the chills. All I could do was really brush my teeth and go to bed. But even at that point, I really didn't think it was the coronavirus. And one of the key things that I want to tell everyone is that, you may not have all of the textbook symptoms that are being circulated in the media and by the CDC and the WHO. Myself in particular, I didn't have a cough. I didn't have any respiratory symptoms. I didn't have any shortness of breath or tightness in my chest. So, even though the fever was high, I figured that I had just contracted a strain of the flu. I went to bed. I woke up in the morning. My fever came down to 101. So I figured that, I'm getting better and I should be able to stay home and recuperate and take over-the-counter medicines.
Well, now that you're all better, and we're so happy you are, what's your big takeaway from this whole experience?
First is, please don't panic. Please stay calm. Please, if you have any of the symptoms that I've described or any of the symptoms that are being described in the media related to the coronavirus infection, if you don't have any life-threatening symptoms, please stay at home, self-isolate yourself, take over-the-counter medicines, get lots of rest, and please, practice social distancing so that we keep other members of our community who are most vulnerable safe.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Elizabeth. Please continue to stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Elizabeth is showing us that if you get coronavirus, recovery is an option. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hey guys, welcome back to Beauty Blast. I'm Jeray for the Slay, and I'm here to drop all the beauty knowledge for you. Now today, we're talking about some more skin that slays. I know, we all want this skin, honey. Just playing. This takes a lot of hard work and effort. So I want to share some of my tips and secrets on how you can have great skin as well. Not saying I have the best, but I know a couple things how to make it look cute, all right? One of the things I am a super big advocate for is cleansing your skin, my friends. Yes, we've talked about this so much, but we can't talk about it enough, especially as seasons start to change. You might start to notice your skin's looking a little bit more dull. Maybe you're just not seeing that squeeze squeaky clean skin like you used to see back in summer or fall, and that's all right. A lot of the times it's because we're not thoroughly cleansing our skin or using the proper cleanser. So one thing that we can always do is making sure that we're cleansing twice a day, my friends. Yes, this goes back to that good old ancient rule of don't just use a makeup wipe to take off your makeup at the end of the day. Make sure you're getting in there and cleansing the skin. Now, if you're noticing, maybe you're not getting the squeaky clean feel that you'd like, switch up your cleanser. Maybe try something like a foam cleanser. Foam cleansers are great because they can really get deep down into the skin and make sure that the pores are feeling squeaky clean once again, and that any additional oils that might be left behind from a regular cleanser are actually getting pulled all the way through. Now, always remember, if you have a little tool such as a skin brush, these guys are going to be great to make sure that you're actually able to lift up dead skin, or even like we've talked about before, my favorite, the Foreo cleansing machine. These guys are great to make sure that you're actually lifting that dirt up and out of your skin. But once again, if you're only cleansing once in the morning and not at night, you're doing yourself a disservice, my friend. We have to make sure that we're getting that skin squeaky clean once again so that we can start having that cellular skin turnover rate, and we can also make sure that our skin's getting all of that good moisturizer, serums, oils, you know, the works to keep our skin looking right. Now, always top off your cleansing system with a good moisturizer to make sure that we're able to seal back in that hydration for the next day. Now, if you guys have more questions, feel free to write in at Jeray for the Slay or at dailyblastlive.com for all of your beauty needs. You know me, girl. It's just your local beauty friend. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Judge Judy's impact on the daytime community and also the viewers that vote is immeasurable. Like, she is the Oprah of, like, judges.
It doesn't feel like it because,
Well
because
said.
it's a judge.
That's the last thing you ever say on the show, and you just walk away.
I didn't know.
I think we really have to be very careful, because the more that people spew online talking about other people's bodies, if it's not positive, you are perpetuating a culture of young girls and young boys who are going to self-harm.
If you're too good to return your cart, obviously you're a bad person. I don't want you as a neighbor. I don't want you as a friend. I judge people on how they use their turn signals and their shopping carts. And if you do neither, you are not my friend.
Welcome back to DBL. We know grocery stores are really busy right now, so when you make your next run, make it count. We're sharing foods that help boost your immunity in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. First, buy mangoes, guys. They're not only delicious, but they are loaded with vitamin C, which is an antioxidant that strengthens your natural body's defenses. Next, mushrooms. They contain antiviral properties, which can actually help protect against different infections. And lastly, stock up on leafy greens like spinach or kale. Those are packed with fiber, which stimulates the body's infection-fighting cells. For more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-562-3891. So I ate steak and wine last night. Not any of the good foods that boost your immunity.
Game of Thrones?
It'll build your iron up.
What is, what?
Yeah, that'll build her
That's
iron
awesome.
up. Yeah.
This is what
That's
I
good for
did.
your
I live with
blood
somebody who likes to
cells.
cook a lot.
I had orange chicken.
I want to go around your house.
I
Everyone's
know.
sold out of
We can't hang out
steak.
right now, guys. Otherwise, I would invite you over.
House Lindsay. All right.
All right, a reminder, guys, we're always on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Daily Blast Live.